Incidentally, I'm going to segue out of Chi now.
Okay.
I checked Donald Sutherland's IMDb.
Okay.
And as far as I can tell, you were the first to get him on film as a narrator in something big. So I think we all owe you a big thanks for getting his lovely voice.
I'll tell him that next time. Wow, did you know, Donald, that I was the first that you did? He was fantastic to work with. And, you know, I sent him, in those days we had 16 millimeter film. So when I was doing like a next fine cut, my film fit into 2 large trunks, right?
It's not like a little digital card, right?
So I had 2 large trunks, and I sent him a proposal because I had a friend who had a friend who had a friend who thought that get this note to him, right? And so off it went. I thought, well, it might take a month, it might take 2 months, it might take a year to get to him, but who knows? It would be wonderful. And like 3 days later, I get a phone call. I get a phone call, and it goes, "Hello, it's Donald." And I went, "Donald who?" He says, "Donald Sutherland." And I went, oh my God. Oh, I'm so sorry. I blubber. And I said, did you get my note? And he said, well, that's why I'm phoning. I'll do it.
I'm just phoning you out of the blue. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I said, you'll do it? And he said, yes. And but I'm in New York. You'll have to bring the film here. I want to see it. And I went, okay, of course, I'll bring the film there. So, of course, I had to travel to New York with 2 enormous trunks.
We're talking about a war story, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that.
Yeah,
but.
and it's 1979,
right.
And I'm pregnant with twins, and
Convenient, perfect. So you got twins here, you got twins here,
and we travel off to New York, and get an editing room, and I lace all up, and have a rough narration with my voice on it. And he has, in the meantime, sent my father's diary. He had put so much thought into this.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and we had long suppers, we had long talks, we had arguments, right? And I'd say, well, no, I know that's more dramatic, but just is not what he was like. And we had this whole thing, and we became so close, so close. Yeah, so, yeah, it was a wonderful gift. I don't even think he accepted any money for it. I don't know. It was a film board film, and they kept saying, well, he says he's working with you, not us. So, and he's doing it as a gift, but we need to get him to sign off this or that. But to my knowledge, he probably did it for $1.
Well, so, that's not a bad price.
We've tried to find another project to do together. We stay in touch.
Will you up the pay if you do another project?
Well, yeah, for sure. I think
you have to at this point.
Doing another project and he's my son is an AD now, and he ended up being on a film with Donald not so long ago, and Donald saw his name and said, Wheeler, are you related to Anne? And my son Quincy said yes, and he said. And then Quincy said, and you are the voice of my grandfather, who, of course, my son never met. Yeah. And Donald just put his arms around Quincy, and they, hung out like this. So there's a real bond there. And he's such a, committed actor and a committed Canadian. I'll always be proud to have worked with him.
You've done so much throughout your career, and you've really crossed genres very successfully, I might add. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the NFB here and their support through this film, and you're working with them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, this is the kind of film you can't write up in advance, because I really didn't know. I mean, it was a long shot. We met when I met Babz, and she came to me because she knew I knew India a little bit, and she wanted to go to an exact place that I had been to after I did Bye Bye Blues. I shot some of Bye Bye Blues in India, and I was exhausted, and I had my 2 kids with me and my husband, and we went to a center down in Kerala, and I had such a experience that I always remember, and I thought, okay, when I get old and tired, I want to go back there. And I've been saying this for about the last 2 years. I really kind of feel like it's about time I go back to Kerala and get kind of rejuvenated, right? So when she came up to me and said, what do you know about India? And I said, well, there's one place I really want to go back to, and it was the place she wanted to go to. It was sort of like I just went, okay, hammer on the head. I'm a nail. You hit me. I guess we're going together. Somehow serendipity, circumstances clicked in here. This is to be. Yeah. So I said, okay, we're going to go together right there, and we gave a big hug and shook on it, and And then I said, well, I guess I'll bring a camera. And she said, yeah, bring a camera. That's fantastic. So basically I committed with no funding or whatever. And really we had to go when her doctor said she could go.
Right.
Because, she was in the midst of chemo and her, health was up and down. So, the film board came in with development money, and I got to go to BC Film. And so with a little tiny bit of money, it fueled my commitment, and and the rest my husband and I just put in.
Oh wow, okay.
Right, and we just basically did it on a development budget and came back with all of the footage, but unfortunately it was all fried onto hard drives because we'd had so many electrical surges. We got back from India, we had no idea what we had. We didn't know if we had 2 minutes of film or 50 hours of film. And it went through this long process. So then the film board waited while we kind of went, well, we don't really know what we have. Right. So we finally got it off these hard drives and came back to them. And, it was, many meetings and many talks. Yeah. And finally I said, I just can't really write exactly how this is happening because I'm still shooting. Right. Right, I'm still shooting every day almost, right? And I need maybe some more support if you can give it to me.
There's a little plug.
Hello. By this time, I'd bought a camera and bought it because it was like one of those films you just didn't know when you were going to need your equipment. Yeah, so eventually they kind of said, you know what, we're in. Let's do it. So it was an enormous relief. And, there's nowhere else I could have turned.
Right, exactly.
There is nowhere else I could have turned.
Well, Ann Wheeler, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit down and talk with you today. And for anybody who hasn't, please Google her and check out her IMDb page and see how long it is and all of the things that she's worked on. And anywhere else people should go to see your work?
The NFB site, of course, website, has got 4 of my films up now, which I think it's just fantastic. I can, email somebody in England or India or Hong Kong and they can click in and see films right away. So I think it's a wonderful site full of enormously exciting, films, and that's one of the reasons I went with the film board. The fact that she can be on that site is going to be a real bonus.
Nice. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Okay.